They're going. They're great. Okay, so we'll.
Well, thank you for being with us, Mr. Lanier. We're just going to get a sort of background of where you came from, where you grew up, what got you interested in music, and what got you to the place you are currently as the band director of Robert C. Hatch High School. So why don't you tell us when and where you were born?
My name is Issac Lanier III. I'm 26 years old. I was born October 20th, 1991 to Cassandra Bonner and Issac Lanier Jr. in Albany, New York, Albany Medical Center. And some unfortunate situations occurred where I had to be relocated down south with my more immediate family. My great-grandfather, Paul Revere Bonner, World War II vet, he's actually still living. 96 years old, going on 97, no health problems or anything like that. So he was a lot younger then when I was a child, so I actually lived with him when I first got to Alabama, relocated from Albany to Selma. Mother had me her first year in college, so she's always been a constant reminder of hard work pays off because unfortunately, I didn't have a childhood like I would have liked to, being able to go to all the parties and things like that because I always had to be with her wherever she had to work, And so we made do, and now I am a collegiate grad, band director. I think I'm somewhat successful. I went to Concordia College at first, where I then transferred to Alabama State University. Under the direction of Dr. James B. Oliver, Tully Body Hall. Learned a lot from Mr. Isaac Bell. He was my lower brass instructor, excellent trombone player. The Bristols, Katarina Bristol, Doug Bristol, Ms. Johnson. A lot of people helped musically cultivate me to where I am. So I can't just say that one particular school is responsible for my outcome. But I went to Alabama State from 2010 to 2012, where I transferred to Talladega College under the director of Miguel Bonds. And I graduated from Talladega, Bachelor's of Music, in 2016. But along that way, every summer, pretty much anytime I could get into anything, I would. Even if we was vacationing, if I couldn't sneak to nobody's band room on vacation, I wouldn't go. So I was introduced to different people. I spent one summer in Memphis, Tennessee, where I was mentee under Kellen Christian, Michael Cowens, James Thomas, a lot of great high school band directors, because I knew I wanted to be a high school band director, and they were very successful in what they were doing. My high school band director, Brandon Williams, as well as Bailey Dawson, former director of Alabama State, Selma High School, Francis Marion High School, and Concordia College. Even Clarence Gibson from Texas Southern University, he helped out a lot when in undergrad, when it's time to do composing and arranging. He loves to write music and, loves to help out. So I can't just say that one person is responsible for my musical upbringing. And I'm kind of happy for it because I'm not stuck to one particular style. When I'm teaching my students, no matter where we're at, they'll be able to adapt, whether we're doing marching band, concert band, any type of ensemble. If it's theory in it, they'll be able to do it, and I'm happy for that, and I'm appreciative. Hope I answered your question.
Oh, yeah. Is this your first position as a teacher out of college?
No, sir. My first position was actually at Greensboro High School in Greensboro, Alabama, but I only stayed there 1 year, and now I'm here at Robert C. Hatch High School. Go Bobcats.
And you've been here for how long?
I was hired a week before school started. I was supposed to be relocating to Memphis, but it was kind of hectic to just pack up and leave from state to state, in 2 weeks. When you just graduated from college, you just drug everything home. Now you're trying to drag everything to an apartment. So to keep from rushing and potentially making a mistake, I just waited. And I got a call, and I accepted. And ever since I've been here, it's been up and down, but I mean, that comes with the territory. You know, nothing is going to be completely perfect exactly how you want, when you want all the time. But what I can say is I have an excellent group of kids that work very hard, because I had to completely rebuild a band when I got to the school. I had to spend a lot of my money. Not that I'm complaining about it, because they worked. Had to buy some instruments, bought sousaphones, trombones, trumpets, like even a couple of drums, you know, to make it go, because they were coming to practice and doing everything I asked them to do. And as a band director, a teacher, mentor, parent, whatever you want to label me, as long as a child is coming, being honest, trying hard, and giving their all, I mean, either they got it or they don't. But at the same time, how can you get rid of a kid like that if they doing absolutely everything you say and trying their hardest? So we've been working hard since September. Spent the whole month of August recruiting. Got a nice amount of students in, taught them how to march, and keep in mind, this is still actual football season going on, so we'll still have to perform at games, we'll have to talk, okay, look, it's going to be okay, we just got to work on standing on the right foot, you know. One thing led to another. We started marching together, we started chanting together. Once we started seeing other different bands that we battled, Selma High School, Southside High School, Aliceville, other schools that was in our area and in our district, and we see them at parades and football games. I just thought it was amazing, because still to this day, a lot of people can't believe that kids have only been playing 6 months. They just started playing in September. You have people that play 2 and 3 years that's not producing this type of quality. Not to sound arrogant, because we do work very hard, day in, day out, 3:30 to potentially anywhere between 5 o'clock to 7:30, you know, just to make sure and ensure that it's right. And I have ranges of 4th and 5th grade all the way to 12th grade, and everybody plays and holds exactly the same. So can't ask for any more.
You were talking about your mother and seeing her work ethic, and I think I can see that, a similar work ethic in you and what you've done with these kids. So I'm really impressed with this, Mr. Lanier. Could you talk a little bit about some of your earliest musical memories?
Oh, man. Early musical memories. I don't like to mention this story too much, but this is kind of what kickstarted me to really being serious about band. Because me being from New York, I mean, we have orchestras and symphonic bands and one ensembles, but the way we do marching band in the South is not a comparison at all. You know, the North might as well not even have it. And so, you know, it was a joke when I first got here. You know, I was a kid from New York. You know, I thought I was a little bit better than everybody, you know, knew more. Go to a football game, and I'm like, wow, you know, it's halftime. Let's go to the concession stand. They like, nah. The band is about to start. I'm like, so? They're like, dude, do you know where you at? Do you just sit right here. You'll see why nobody moving. And that was my first time seeing a halftime show by Selma High School. It was in about 2004. I was in middle school. I'll never forget it. My cousin, she was a dancer, and she danced at Clark Atlanta University in Atlanta, Georgia, after she graduated. But we all went to support her, and the crowd went crazy. It was a euphoric feeling, you know. I had never experienced anything like that, because the football games I was going to, if the crowd weren't cheering, I mean, you could throw a couple of tumbleweeds out there, and that'd get it going more than anything that you would hear. So to see the crowd roaring the way they did for this band, you know, I never understood it. You know, I'm just like, just some band stuff, you know, little band geeks. And then I met someone that I just couldn't keep my eyes off of. It turns out she was in the marching band, and because I liked her, I changed the complete perspective on a marching band. And she happened to play baritone, and I said, well, I want to spend time with you. You know what she told me? But if you want to spend time with me, you have to get in the band, because I'm going to be at practice every day, and I'm not missing. I proceeded the next morning to ask to go to the restroom, and I snuck to the band room. I said, do you have another opening? I want to play baritone. And I think he was surprised, Mr. Williams was surprised, because at 2003, 2004, the baritone and euphonium, especially in marching band, wasn't a very popular instrument. And I said, okay, I'm going to do this. And let's get back forward. Present day, we had the performance. And it was me and another guy. She ended up having to miss the performance. Got to the battle. Jefferson Davis High School in Montgomery, Alabama. Crampton Bowl. I'll never forget it. That's when Facebook was just getting popular. We got on Facebook and, you know, they typed to me, okay, well, you know, we're going to outdo you guys. You know, I'm like, no, you're not. You know, I'm the only one, you know, defending for my city because nobody was social on the internet like that. And turns out the guy that played baritone for the other school name is Thomas Perry. He's the band director currently. We're all band directors. We all stuck with it. He's currently the band director at Fairleigh High School in Memphis, Tennessee. And he graduated a year before me in high school. So he's kind of always been like a big brother to me. Been an excellent player. You know, he's very modest and humble. And that's a quality that I admire. So, you know, once I met him, it's kind of like meeting your match. I was like, wow, he plays better than me, you know. He can talk trash pretty good too. Like I can't beat him right now, you know. And it just really had me just mentally messed up, you know, the rest of the game, you know. Because when you're trying as hard as you can and you got somebody laughing at you, it's only going to make you, you know, even more upset. So I stuck with it until that day. I knew I was going to be one of the best baritone players in Alabama, or if I wasn't going to be the best, you would definitely remember me and everybody would know who I was. And here in 2018, from 2005, I think we've made that nationally known on the East Coast. I played for many ensembles: Selma High School, Alabama State University, Talladega College, Memphis Mass Band, Memphis Alumni Band, Mississippi Alumni All-Star Band, LLI, Louisiana Leadership Institute, a bunch of different ensembles just to take and kind of cultivate myself with different areas, to adapt myself to be able to do different styles of play, not only being able to compete with myself with Alabama baritone players, but I could go sit in any band room and do just as well as anybody. That was my ultimate goal. You know, not to ultimately be the best, but be one of the greats, one of the legends, and be remembered. So now I've reached that. It's time to pass it on to the kids and, you know, make a couple more me's and hopefully they'll be better than me.
So the baritone was what you essentially cut your teeth on with learning music.
Yes, sir.
Did you get have a teacher? You just learned through the band program? Your band director?
My band director, he's very old school. He showed me. I was young and naive, so of course I didn't listen. But he told me some things and he set them in place and set me up and said, you have to practice. It's like riding a bike. You know, once you got it, you got it, you know. You might not ride it for a while, but it's nothing to pick it back up. And so I kept that in mind, and he always had this phrase, blow. And when you can't blow, blow some more. And that has to do with stamina and endurance. But I never really had a personal instructor per se, other than Mr. Isaac Bell at Alabama State University. Had another guy, Kevin Garlington. He's the former baritone section leader at Alabama State. And also, I always used to watch a lot of videos of Mr. Thurman, Demontre Thurman. He was the euphonium teacher at Alabama State University and left the year before I got there. So, but I've just been watching and just learn. I'm a vicarious learner. I listen, I watch, and I'll just practice until I get it, you know. Until I have it figured out, you have to show me. I'm not going to let you do anything else until you show me.
Yeah. I see you using that practice of watching and listening with your students. You're always encouraging them to video and to pay attention to what they see.
And the reason I do that is when I did education classes in undergrad, one thing that was always taught is that you as a teacher you have to stay creative because everybody is not the same and everybody doesn't learn the same. I can take and give you a sheet of paper and say, okay, follow these instructions and you can do it. You, on the other hand, I might have to take and physically show you, and then you say, oh, okay, that's all you're doing. Everything translates different to everybody. So I make sure I have multiple methods on deck and at any time to make sure the end result is the same, because it's not about how you get there, it's about how you end up.
I am interested in the community band that you've started. Can you tell us more about that?
In 2011, I took a semester off from school in Selma, Alabama. In Central Alabama area, people refer to it as the Black Belt of Alabama because of Highway 80. It just kind of goes straight across the waistline of Alabama. And so to say, I don't want to say I got bored, but it was kind of that, and I was working on a Unity thing. Just kind of sat down with some friends one day and was like, man, what if we got all the people from Selma High School in Southside, because it's not unified. You know, it's a lot of violence and stuff like that going on. So I said, man, what if I can take and find a way to fuse these bands together, because it's never been done before. And I have to take somebody that is well known on both ends. Everybody from my band knew me, and I had a lot of relatives in the rival band, a first cousin actually, that played the same instrument that I played. And so we just kind of hung out for a summer and we brainstormed on it. And so it's really, I can't say it was on me. We all kind of came up with the idea, but I went to school and, you know, I ran with it. I said, Mr. Williams, man, look, I have an idea. What do you think? And mentoring, just like here at Samford, your students sat in and played with mine, boosted confidence levels and skill level. I took and had some of the students from Concordia, which is right across the way, to come over and sit in with those practices and take and help cultivate those skills. I said, man, we sound good. Let's try the song out. Wow, sound good. And we had a guy graduate from a school called Dallas County High School, Michael Johnson. He's in the NFL now, and he does an annual camp every year to come back and give back to the community, help kids with football. He brings some of his NFL friends out, and they do different kind of camps, show them different drills to just kind of improve all their skills all the way around on the football field. And just so happened, we needed an event to play at, and I was able to reach his mom, and we were performing for Michael Johnson's camp. And it ended up on Michelle Obama's website because she had a campaign about obesity and losing weight and stuff. And so, I mean, it was just a blessing, you know, me just being a kid thinking, man, what if we put these bands together, you know, to stop some beef, you know, some of the violence, you know, maybe if they see, okay, we all in it for the same reason, we just looking at it differently, then maybe it'll solve some of the problems, because communication is the main part of it all. So it just happened, and there was born the Black Belt United Mass Band, and this year we're hoping to do it again. Now that some years have passed, I've graduated, I've had friends that have graduated, a couple people that graduated from Selma High as well as me have graduated, and we all have marching bands that have been working strong year round. So hopefully to pull those together and hoping to have almost 200 people combined with 4 or 5 schools. So started small, but faith of mustard seed, get you going.
You told me the last time I was down at your high school that the band director at Francis C. Marion High School was a very good friend of yours.
Yes, sir. We started the band together at Alabama State University. His name is Tony Devon, one of the best trombone players I know personally. And it's just crazy that we kind of started school together and we kind of finished around the same time, and we got placed in a county where there are only 2 high schools, so it's like me versus him, you know. So it's competitive and it's fun all in the same sense, because we still have to help each other because we're all we got. And so, but at the end of the day, you're going to have on orange and blue, and we'll have on purple and gold. But excellent, man. He's one of the schools that will also be participating in the All-Star Band.
That's so great. You were talking about how music can help address some of the problems in society and some of the challenges in society. Tell me more about how you think that happens.
I just think it happens because music breaks the human down to the simplest form. I mean, music doesn't have a color, it doesn't have an identity, you know, it doesn't have a race, it doesn't have a gender. It's for everybody. And once they start playing, it's either going to make you feel a couple of ways, happy, sad, excited, you know, but either way, music is one of the only things in this world that can completely hack into a human and control everything without even trying to. Yeah. And so, with that being said, I just try to push the music, you know, so much, because a lot of people don't even know how much regular life and everyday things relates to band. You know, analogies like we talk about tempo. tempo is in everything. You can go fast in a car. You can go fast walking on your feet, Dynamic contrast, You can talk loud, and it would affect the way a conversation dictates with somebody, whether you approaching them like this. Different things, and I use all kind of life situations in the classroom like that to try to make great analogies to help them understand the way music makes me feel and why I'm so excited about it. Anytime anything happens, let's cut on some music. Let's do something musical. And I feel like once they get that feeling, then they'll eternally, not essentially, eternally be on the right path.
I have a question that probably should be towards the end, but I know this is an oral history sort of interview, but I want to know, where do you see yourself in this program in, say, 5 to 10 years? Where is this moving towards with you?
5 to 10 years. I'm
a year.
I'm gonna be honest. Within another year or two, as long as God keep blessing, we keep working hard. I've gotten my band instruments. I've got my band stands through DonorsChoose.org. My next step, hopefully, is to get a band room set of chairs, to help with posture, playing posture. There's a bunch of small things like that, technical skills that paints the bigger picture. I want to get band room chairs. I would love to get uniforms for my school. That's one thing I'm really, really working towards, because certain events we go to, I don't mention it too much, but at the same time, I do observe everything. And sometimes a windsuit is not proper attire for a performance, but at the same time, if that's all you have, then that's the only thing you can do. But I notice how my kids react sometimes when they see a band stepping out with clean spats and shakos and, the cape swinging when they do the horn swinging. We're going to have uniforms in about two years. I want to say 2 minimum. Within 5 to 10 years, I hope to have one student that has clung to me enough to come take over the program. I would love to move to the collegiate level, but I want to stay on the high school level for at least 3, 4, 5 more years, because everybody don't need to be on the collegiate level. If you have everybody playing NBA, who's going to teach the high school people? Essentially, you will have no recruits. So I want to stay on the high school level for a little while and just cultivate, teach, plant some seeds, and wherever God take me is what it is. Like I said, I thought I was going to be in Memphis, and I'm in Uniontown, so I'll just follow. I don't argue.
And Uniontown's not Memphis. Memphis is not Uniontown. What do you think are some of the great things that you like about being in Uniontown, and what are some of the challenges?
Uniontown has a sense of pride like no other. Man, when I say pride, like, the city bands together for the when it comes to the sports. As long as you're doing something, one thing now, let's just scratch everything. Let's say this is my first year working in Uniontown, and what I'm almost double sure is, if you in the community and you're doing something positive for their children, doing something right, keep them out of trouble, being a great example, the people will rally together, do whatever they need to do to make it happen for those kids. That's what I love about Uniontown. Some of the challenges I face is pretty much I face at other schools. The culture is trying to die out, so you have to, keep them influenced and tell them why it's important, show them why it's important. And I think essentially at this school, I've never had a school that didn't have any instruments. So that was kind of heartbreaking. Left me broke for a little while, but now you see why I work so hard. I'm not going to let the money go to waste. But I think that was the biggest challenge, not having inventory. Everything else, I think I could stomach it.
Yeah. Tell us more about your friendship with Mr. Tony Devon and how the two schools relate.
My friendship with Tony Devon, at Alabama State, we were the freshman section leaders. Of course, you have like a head section leader that's over the entire section, but you'll have a designated person to be over the first years. And he was designated first years over trombone, and I was the same baritone and euphonium. So it's always like a consistent battle. You know, I'm gonna be better. You gonna be better. You know, it was always like that. And even in 2012, you know, in our fourth year, he was head section leader and I was too. You know, he had 40 trombones and I had 32 baritones. You know, Alabama State had a very large band in 2012, about 350 members, and majority brass, like 60 trumpets. That's yeah. I see your faces now. You excited about what you're hearing down there? Yeah, it would be just amazing, you know. But to see all those people playing in sync together, all the same hand motions, all the same phrasing, it's like. And now when I got the call that, you know, he was gonna be at Francis Marion, I was like, oh man, here we go again, just like the old days, you know. Except the trombones, I think the trombones were a little better than us at Alabama State than the baritones, but I don't think that's going to be the case with Hatch and Francis.
What else would you like to tell us about your experience as a band director or as a musician?
I'll say it so much. Trying to make sure I'm not doubling back and saying some of the same things. Just being a band director, man. I'm gonna leave y'all with this. People think being a band director, you know, if you're not a hard-working, diligent, dedicated band director, then it's not the job you want. You know, people say, "Oh man, you a band director, man, you so cool." My bad. I just saw my kids scavenging. Yeah. But you know, people watch me. Man, we see you waving your hands, man. How can I do that? You know, and you know, sometimes people go about stuff for the wrong reasons. You know, it'd be some days where I might have 3, 4, 5 people at practice because of something else completely going on. You know, you have to roll with the punches. A lot of people don't make it to the end. The end being the performance day. You know, it's so much work. You know, when you're only one person and you have to teach 30, 40 kids how to completely play from scratch while making sure you can have a positive looking field show. You know, people being in formation where they need to, no slip notes hanging over or anything like that. It's a lot. You talking about sleepless nights, you know. So essentially, internally, man, I'm just grateful to have some kids that like band like I do, you know, and hopefully it's on the verge to love, but they like it like I do, and we'll see what the future holds.
There's a band director here in Birmingham, Jarrell Horton at Vestavia Hills High School. Mm-hmm. I've heard him say before that he knows that most of his band students will not be professional musicians, but he thinks that all of them will end up being professional people. And he believes that band teaches them that. And it seems like that's what you're doing too.
I'm a firm believer because if you can matriculate through my band program, and I have very strict rules, if you can matriculate through this band program, you'll be an excellent adult because, A, you'll know how to talk to people. You'll know it's a certain time and a certain place to do and say certain things, and certain things that won't be allowed and it's not acceptable. And you have to have discipline because if you have chaos, there's just gonna be a lot of friction. So I'm in agreement with him. I do agree. I'll have a couple that'll go out and be band directors, but just like I tell them and my students, regular students, band students, I'm just teaching you how to think, not what to think, how to think, and how to be able to matriculate through life, you know, without having to fend and depend on anybody. You'll be able to fend for yourself. You know, I said, everybody that's in the band don't get out and be band directors. That's how you think we was able to get the band going. Some people take and graduate and go own a restaurant. I know somebody who graduated now and they own branches of Chick-fil-A. You know, some people have clothing lines. Some people have media teams, you know, different things like that. Everybody doesn't graduate and be a band director. And so that's what I want to do. I want to just make it strong in everybody, that everybody knows that I'm not trying to make you be a band director. I just want you to be a great person so you can be able to appreciate stuff and know what it takes to earn and work hard and deserve something and enjoy yourself in life.
Well, you're doing such wonderful work with these kids and this whole community. I really appreciate your being willing to talk with us and
No
tell us these
problem.
stories today. And just for this partnership, I'm really excited to be.
I'm thankful more than you could ever know, because everything that I don't see y'all do, and y'all help me pick up a lot of slack. So I'm very appreciative, and I'm pretty sure the kids are too. They've already mentioned how good the food was, and man, Mr. Nick, can we play that song he wrote? So I'm gonna see if we can get Kevin down to our band room and do some work, and we'll get it going.
Great, that sounds wonderful. Well, we better catch up with your kids finishing up the scavenger hunt, haven't we? Or
Thank
did
you
wanna
so
say
much.
something?
No,
Yeah,
I just
okay,
want to add
great.
thank you.
Thank you.